Now, this is the Mags on Media 2014 Soccer World Cup brand special. You can let us know about some of your favourite campaigns around the soccer spectacular on our Facebook page. We're also, by the way, on Twitter 24/7. Now, famed film director Oliver Stone, best known for films like Natural Born Killers and Any Given Sunday, has upped the ante in a high-paced soccer-themed ad that sees him direct players to make the action on the field seem more exciting. The live-action feel was achieved by making use of a new movie Steadicam system, which allows smooth movement at high pace. This is how he did it.
My name is Rodrigo Prieto. I'm the cinematographer in this job that Oliver Stone directed. The idea behind this spot is that Oliver Stone is directing a commercial for the World Cup. In the beginning, we don't know that it's a shoot. We believe it's just a regular game, and then suddenly we hear cut, and the director, Oliver Stone, comes in and rearranges everything for it to be more spectacular. So he starts talking about the cameras being in positions that have never been seen before. He wants to up the ante because this is a World Cup. I'd heard of the movie. I'd seen some demos, and I thought this could be a device that could be interesting for us. We used a movie and hung it off a rope from the top of the bleachers. We let it loose, and that did a move that gave a sweeping move from the top of the stadium. Shots like point of view of the player looking down at his feet. We gave the movie to the actual player, and he was running with it. Other times I would operate it myself and run behind the players, following their feet. Running behind the star player that went to celebrate, and the camera starts low behind him and then, ends on his hands, or even the point of view of a ball going into the goal. We just ran with the movie into the net. And action! I think the movie really does add many possibilities for camera move and camera placement, and just a tool that enhances the creative possibilities for directors and cinematographers. It allows for camera positions and camera movements in a very quick fashion. I think the movie is ideal for unusual shots that really are only achievable with this, with a small unit that can go through things, that can change its height. It will really change the way that shooting sometimes happens, especially, when you have to run and gun and get a lot of coverage quickly.
All right, so we've been seeing different campaigns around the World Cup on traditional media, but let me suggest to you that digital and social media are also playing a massive role, possibly eclipsing traditional media this time round. But here's the question. How do brands actually make money out of these campaigns? Let's shed some light on that. Tim Legg is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ole Media Group, and he joins us from Cape Town. Tim, greetings to you and a very warm welcome. Put this into perspective for us. Is this event, as I've just suggested, going to be dominated, eclipsed by social media to the detriment of traditional media?
I think traditional media still has a very strong role, but I do think digital will be key, and of course social media is part of that digital landscape.
So if it's going to be key, brands who are going to play in the space, Tim Legg, need to have a good strategy, don't they?
The modern way really is for brands to build a community, a digital community around their brand and their message. And the best way of doing that is reaching out to people through digital channels. When it comes to any sporting event, people are passionate about sport, but they also want information, and they want instant information. And there are companies out there and brands, and we're working with brand now to deliver instant information to to an audience. And we found an incredible take-up already after the first 5 days of that campaign launching.
Talk to us a little bit about the campaign and the type of content then that you're providing.
It's a very interesting take by Vodacom, who are really looking to reach to the lower LSM and introduce digital content to an audience that has not had access to content before. It's geared all around USSD and SMS, very basic mobile technologies. In the first 5 days, we've had over 1.2 million hits on the USSD portal. We've had 85,000 people been to the site, 85,000 unique users, and we've had 30,000 people sign up to receive free SMS alerts on the World Cup.
All right, those are very impressive figures, Tim Legg, but where's the value for the brand? In other words, how do you quantify return on investment for a campaign like this?
Ultimately, there are certain metrics like the engagement, number of times an individual will engage with the brand. But once you have built up that community, you can start getting feedback from the individuals concerned, from the community. You can start using the community to promote and seed new ideas. You can even do market research, which is something very key for a lot of the brands, is once they've built up that audience, they can actually start doing market research and find out what that community is interested in and how that could be used to leverage the brand.
So the secret in all of this is you reach out first, you make something attractive to the consumer, but at the end of it, it's also just a big data gathering exercise, and it's incumbent upon the brand to manage and to interpret that data optimally.
I was speaking to the marketing director of another very large company, and he said he just pulled a sponsorship of a sports team because he couldn't measure the return on investment. Digital allows you to measure your engagement. It allows you to quantify the number of people who are physically engaging with the brand. And yes, there is an element about data. It's about building up data and profiling your audience, and that gives you more market insights, which allows you to arguably deliver a better service and a better product to your customers.
All right, a final question to you. It's all very well for brands to be playing in this peripheral space, I would suggest. But a brand has also got to be very cognizant of the rules, of the rights, unless they are prepared to play the ambush game.
Absolutely, and there's an extremely strict guidelines issued by FIFA around the World Cup, for example. So what most of the brands are doing is, rather than not necessarily referring to the World Cup directly, there's a number of phrases that are not allowed to be used that have been trademarked by FIFA, including Brazil in 2014. So brands really focus on the peripheral, which is really focusing on teams and players rather than on the tournament itself.
Tim Legg, Chief Executive Officer of the Ole Media Group, thank you very much for joining us. The advice there, I would imagine, is if you're going to play in the space, good place to be, but also make sure that you've got a lawyer on speed dial. Finally this week, one of the American sports broadcasters, ESPN's World Cup ad, sees football fans across the world having to adjust to Brazilian time in order to watch the games live. This is a campaign that taps, I would suggest, into the very DNA of football fans who for a month have nothing more to live for than kick-off and that final whistle.
Check it again, check it again.
Эй, маленький сынок, давай, приходи уже вниз, что с тобой?
Нет, вот это правда. Тебе дома, мадам, потому что учил.
3 extension 4251. I'll be out of the office the rest of the afternoon.
All right, let's end the show with 10 World Cup facts as we say goodbye and happy viewing to you. Firstly, Brazil is the 5th country to host a World Cup for the 2nd time. The 2014 World Cup official TV opening is an animation video. Brazil is going to use drones and also US-made robots during the World Cup. The 2014 World Cup, the most expensive ever staged. A paraplegic teenager is going to take the first 2014 World Cup kick. Coca-Cola's official anthem for the 2014 World Cup is called "The World Is Ours." Shakira has recorded another World Cup song, and France has demanded 2 types of soap in each player's hotel room. A Simpsons episode has been dedicated to the 2014 World Cup, and the 2014 World Cup champion is going to win $35 million US. That's the show. Let me introduce you to the Mags on Media World Cup team. Come on, guys.
News that moves. ENCA.com.